Welcome to Randy's Tropical Plants. Today's plant is a plant that is a product that everybody is familiar with, but very few people know how to grow it. And a lot of people are really surprised that you can grow this plant in Florida. And this is a coffee plant. This is Coffea arabica. And this plant's been in the ground 10 years here. It has been frozen to the ground about 3 times during that time. It is a very cold sensitive plant, but it grows back from the stump at the bottom. Nowadays I protect it a lot better. It's gotten quite large. I back up here. You can see it's about 8 feet tall or so. Anyway, coffee is not a difficult plant to grow if you know what coffee likes. This is Coffea arabica. There are several other species, Coffea canephora, Coffea robusta, 1 or 2 others that are occasionally grown for the coffee beans, but I think something like 90% of the coffee in the world is grown from this plant. Most of the coffee from South America is this plant. It does not originate in South America. It originates in Ethiopia originally, and from there it was moved all over the world. It is in the Rubiaceae family, which is the same family as gardenias. And most people, when they see this plant here in my nursery, they think it's a gardenia. They say, wow, what a very beautiful gardenia. And the flowers, which it has little tiny flower buds on it right now, all at all these nodes. The flowers are little white flowers that somewhat resemble a little tiny single-flowered gardenia. They are fragrant like a gardenia, sort of jasmine-like flavor, sort of a jasmine-like aroma. And then it takes them a very long time, but eventually you get lots of these berries, and I'll be picking these red ones off later today. And I actually make coffee out of those. I've been propagating this asexually. It has a lot of lower branches down here that need to come off to raise them up off the ground so that bugs don't get to them and whatnot. And I'll be cutting those off today too, and I'm going to be putting those in my mist system and rooting them out. And that's what I have for sale, are rooted clones of this tree. Now, because it is a relative of gardenia, it likes a lot of the same kind of thing. It likes shade. This is an understory grower. You can't grow these in direct sun, otherwise you'll get sunburns on the leaves and it'll be stunted and yellow. So you need to have it underneath a tree of some sort. This is under a big oak canopy here. They like acidic soil, just like camellias and azaleas and gardenias do. So I mix a lot of oak leaves into the soil, composted oak leaves. Pine bark nuggets are good. Anything that adds, acidifying organic matter to the soil is good. Pine needles is a good idea. They love that acid soil, and they will not thrive without it. I water. It's pretty forgiving on the water once it's established, but I water it fairly regularly just because I like to keep it nice and healthy and robust. When they do start producing the berries, there's generally 2 seeds inside of each one, and coffee is known for being really slow to sprout. If you order coffee seeds from an online business, they'll have a low sprouting ratio and they take a long time to sprout, but when you pull them right off the plant and plant them, you get a very high ratio and they sprout much more quickly. The processing of the berries is kind of hard. There's 2, you have to remove the outer skin and the pulp. There's a little bit of pulp, and you can eat that pulp. It's sweet, but there's not much flavor to it. And then underneath that is the beans, but they are inside of what's called a parchment, which is a thick kind of a layer that's around them, and then there's a silver skin that's around the bean, which is then inside. So it's kind of a lot of drying, and then there's different methods of removing the parchment skin, and it's a lot of processing, but I do it, and then I roast them in a wok and a barbecue outside and make my own coffee out of them. This plant can take temperatures down to just above freezing without much damage. It'll start to look kind of wilty and unhappy in the 30s, but it'll be fine as long as it stays above freezing. Below freezing, it starts to die very quickly. They're very, very, very sensitive to temperatures below freezing, and it's not like you'll lose the leaves, you'll lose the whole plant. So I definitely cover this very well on those cold nights. But we just got down into the low 40s a couple nights ago, and this thing made it through without a hitch in its stride. So they're not quite as cold sensitive as people say, but you know, they will grow just obviously fine here in Tampa. But you do have to protect them pretty aggressively on those nights that it's going to get down to below freezing. I mean, those frost nights, you do have to protect them or you will lose your plant. This has been Coffee Arabica on randystropicalplants.com. If you have any questions, please go to the link in the description below to my website, and from there you can email me, and I'll respond to all emails within 24 hours. Thank you very much.